Hello, Golden State Warriors fan. We're back with an exclusive video bringing you the latest updates. First of all, subscribe to the channel and like the video. It's crucial for you to stay informed with the news daily. Without further ado, let's get to the news. The Golden State Warriors have made a lot of noise over the years with their smart moves, flashy style, and championship pedigree. But when it comes to the Jimmy Butler trade, they didn't just make noise, they made a statement. Midway through the 2 mil, even quattro, 25 season, in a move that stunned a lot of people around the league, the Warriors pulled off one of the most aggressive trades in recent memory, bringing in the 6-time All-Star Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat. And they didn't just rent him for a playoff push. They doubled down and locked him in with a massive extension, keeping him under contract until the summer of 2026. That means over the next 2 seasons, Golden State is on the hook for more than 110 million. That's right, over 110 million for a player who, despite being 35, still plays like he's got something to prove every night. And if we're being honest, Butler showed pretty quickly that he wasn't just coming to the Bay to cash checks. He turned the Warriors' season around almost instantly. Before the trade, Golden State was struggling to find consistency. They were hanging around the play-in zone, dropping winnable games, and looking like a team unsure of its identity. But then Butler showed up and brought that gritty, no-nonsense energy he's famous for. From a moment he stepped onto the court in that Warriors jersey, the vibe changed. They went on a crazy 20 trace, seat run after the trade, and that wasn't a coincidence. Butler wasn't just putting up numbers, although he certainly did that too. He was setting a tone. In 30 games with the Warriors, he averaged just under 18 pontos por jogo, along with more than 5 rebotes, almost 6 asistencias, and nearly 2 steals per night. His shooting from deep wasn't great, hovering just below 28%, but his field goal percentage was solid at 47.6%, and he made big shots when they mattered most. More importantly, he was defending at a high level, taking on the toughest perimeter assignments, and bringing the kind of leadership that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. One of the most defining moments of his Warriors stint so far came in the playoffs. In Game 2 against the Houston Rockets, he went down with an injury that had fans holding their breath. It looked bad. Everyone thought he might be out for the series. But Jimmy being Jimmy, he wasn't going to let that be the story. He came back in Game 4 and dropped 20 pontos, putting the team on his back and helping swing the momentum back in Golden State's favor. That's what you pay over 100 million for. That's the kind of player you move mountains to get. That's why Warriors fans, despite some online hate, owe Jimmy Butler a little more respect. Because yes, some of that hate has started to bubble up. You've probably seen the posts, people questioning the extension, calling his fit with the team into question, complaining about his age or the money involved. But those same fans seem to forget where this team was headed before Butler arrived. They forget that this man helped them finish the regular season on a 20 trace, seat run. They forget how many times he's come back from adversity and delivered in the clutch. For a team still trying to squeeze every drop out of the Steph and Curry window, adding a guy like Jimmy Butler wasn't a gamble. It was a lifeline. Now, with that said, the Warriors' offseason hasn't exactly gone according to plan. After making the move for Butler and handing him a max extension, many expected the front office to stay aggressive, add some shooting, maybe a backup big, perhaps find another wing who could help space the floor. But here we are, halfway through August, and the Warriors have been shockingly quiet. Outside of a couple of second-round picks in the draft, nothing major has happened. No big free agent signings. No notable trades. Just silence. And a lot of that has to do with the ongoing drama surrounding Jonathan Kuminga. Now, this whole Kuminga situation has been dragging on for months. He's a restricted free agent, and the Warriors did make him an offer, but he didn't like it. He turned it down, and now both sides are stuck in a standoff. Golden State doesn't want to meet his demands, and Kuminga, from everything that's been reported, doesn't really want to come back. Especially not after falling out of Steve Kerr's rotation last season. The relationship seems strained, and it's clearly affecting the team's ability to move forward this offseason. A lot of targets have come and gone. Free agents that might have signed elsewhere. Trades that couldn't happen because Kuminga's future is still up in the air. At the same time, there's a lot of mixed signals coming from the front office. Owner Joe Lacob reportedly told Kuminga he wants him in Golden State for a long time, and other people inside the organization are said to be pushing to bring him back. But Kuminga isn't showing much interest. He hasn't signed a new deal. He hasn't given any indication that he's buying into whatever vision the team is selling. And that's a problem, not just for the front office, but for a locker room that's trying to gear up for one last serious run with Steph, Draymond, and now Jimmy Butler leading the charge. What makes this even more complicated is that, even with all the drama, there hasn't been a ton of interest from other teams. Kuminga hasn't exactly had a flood of offers, and the ones that have come in haven't met the Warriors' asking price in a potential sign-and-trade. So now everyone's stuck. The Warriors can't pivot until Kuminga's future is resolved, and Kuminga can't get a fresh start until someone meets Golden State's terms. It's a stalemate, and it's costing the team valuable time in a critical offseason. Meanwhile, on the other side of the globe, Stephen Curry is being treated like basketball royalty. He's taken his Curry Camp International for the first time ever, bringing it to Chongqing, China, and the response has been overwhelming. Fans packed the venue, chanting MVP as soon as he stepped onto the court. There was a massive light show mimicking his iconic three-pointers, and the love he received made it clear that his global appeal is still at an all-time high. Curry even posted about the trip before he landed, hyping it up on social media and showing just how much these international tours mean to him. This wasn't just another camp. It was the first ever CurryCon, a basketball culture convention built around his brand. And it marked the final stop of his world tour, which started in San Francisco and ended in China. That kind of global reach is rare, and it shows that even at 36 years old, Curry's name still carries weight far beyond the NBA court. Back home, though, Curry's probably keeping one eye on the Warriors' front office, waiting to see what kind of reinforcements they're going to bring in. Last season, he averaged 24 pontos 5 puntos, mais de cuatro rebotes y 6 asistencias por partida. He's still playing at an elite level. Butler's still got gas in the tank. Draymond's still the emotional leader. But time is ticking. The rest of the Western Conference isn't standing still. Teams like Denver, Oklahoma City, and Minnesota are loading up. The Lakers and Clippers are always a threat. And right now, the Warriors look like a team stuck in limbo. They've got their core. They've got a leader in Jimmy Butler who's already shown he can shift the energy of the entire franchise. They've got one of the greatest players in NBA history still performing at a high level. But none of that matters if they can't build the right roster around them. And that's the part that's got fans nervous. Because the longer this Kuminga situation drags out, the more opportunities the team could miss. And for a franchise that's used to being ahead of the curve, that's unfamiliar territory. And while the Warriors navigate all this uncertainty, Jimmy Butler remains the X factor that could define not only their upcoming season, but the entire future of the franchise. Let's not forget who Jimmy Butler is. Not just a six-time All-Star, not just a tough two-way wing, but a battle-tested leader who has carried teams on his back deep into the playoffs. The same guy who dragged the Miami Heat to 2 NBA Finals appearances without ever having a true superstar co-pilot. The same guy who thrives in high-pressure situations, who plays with an edge, who doesn't care about the spotlight unless it's on the scoreboard at the end of the game. That kind of mentality is rare in today's NBA, and it's exactly the kind of presence the Warriors needed to balance their locker room. And that leadership, it's already rubbing off. There's a noticeable shift in intensity every time Butler is on the floor. He's not there for the show. He's there to win. He holds teammates accountable. He challenges younger players. He sets the tone defensively, digging into matchups that most stars avoid. And even though he's had his share of wear and tear, especially with the injuries that limited him last postseason, he's still producing at a high level when it matters most. That comeback performance in Game 4 against the Rockets wasn't just about the numbers. It was about the message it sent, that he's not going to let pain, criticism, or even age stop him from competing. That's the guy Golden State paid over $110 million for. Not just a scorer, not just a defender, but a culture setter. Now imagine if the front office gives him a full, healthy roster to work with. If they can settle the Kuminga situation, either by bringing him back into the fold or finally moving him in a sign-and-trade, they'll have clarity. And with that clarity comes opportunity. The Warriors have tools. They still have a championship DNA. They still have arguably the best backcourt shooter in the history of the game. Add in Butler's physicality, his mid-range game, his ability to get to the line and slow the pace when needed. Suddenly you've got a group that could do real damage in the playoffs. But only if they get the support they need. Because right now, the roster feels incomplete. The front court rotation lacks size and depth. There's still no clear solution to the backup center role, especially if they're unable to land someone like Al Horford, who's been linked to them since the start of free agency. And with Butler now firmly in the mix, the team could really use another shooter or two to help space the floor and allow him to operate more freely. This isn't about adding stars, it's about smart, strategic depth. Role players who can play within a system, who won't shrink under pressure, who understand what it means to play alongside Hall of Famers. But the Warriors can't act until they know what's happening with Kuminga. And that's the frustrating part. They're not being held back by cap space. They're not handcuffed by lack of assets. They're being held hostage by indecision, by ego, by a contract stalemate that could have been resolved weeks ago. And in the meantime, other teams are getting stronger. The West is brutal. The margin for error is razor thin. You can't afford to stand still. Not when you've invested over $100 million into a 35-year-old star who's here to win now. And let's not pretend this is just about Kuminga. The front office has to look in the mirror too. There's been a pattern of hesitance lately. Failing to close deals, missing out on key free agents, holding on to young prospects too long instead of flipping them for proven talent. That worked when Curry was 28 and Thompson and Green were in their prime. But not anymore. Time has shifted. The window is closing, and everyone knows it, which makes the Butler trade even more important. It was a sign that Golden State still believes they can compete at the highest level. But believing isn't enough. You got to act like it. And here's the thing. Butler doesn't want to be part of a long rebuild. He didn't come to the Bay to mentor teenagers and finish in the middle of the standings. He came to win. He signed a massive extension because he was sold a vision, a plan that he could be the missing piece to another title run. If that plan stalls, if the Warriors don't deliver the roster he needs to succeed, it won't just be a wasted investment. It'll be a lost opportunity. And there's no guarantee they'll get another one like this. Meanwhile, Steph is out there doing what he's always done, being the global face of basketball, building his brand, inspiring the next generation. His trip to China is more than just a summer appearance. It's a reflection of how much he still means to the game. Fans chanting MVP in a foreign language, light shows designed around his shot form, basketball culture conventions named after him. That's not just respect, that's reverence. Curry is still an icon, and he's still playing like one. But back home, the silence from the front office is deafening. He hasn't come out and criticized the lack of moves. He never does. But make no mistake, he sees what's happening. And if the Warriors aren't careful, they could find themselves wasting another elite season from one of the greatest players ever. Last year, he averaged over 24 points per game, shot near his usual elite splits, and kept them competitive even when things weren't clicking. You don't want to ask him to carry that load again without giving him the tools to succeed. Golden State has the pieces. They have the pedigree. They even have the headline move already done. Now, they just need to follow through. Give Butler the help he needs. Give Steph the bench he deserves. Give the fans something to believe in. And maybe, just maybe, they'll hang one more banner before the Dynasty chapter finally closes for good. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers have begun to circulate in the basketball world, and the epicenter of this murmuring storm appears to be none other than the Golden State Warriors. Recently, head coach Steve Kerr made a statement that has sent shockwaves through the fan base and analysts alike, hinting at internal tension within the team. According to Kerr, there's a player currently on the roster who no longer wants to be a part of the franchise. While Kerr did not specify a name, insiders suggest that this revelation could have significant implications not only for the player in question, but also for the locker room dynamics, team performance, and the Warriors' strategic planning for upcoming seasons. Speculation is rife, as fans and media outlets scramble to identify who might be at the center of this drama. The statement opens up questions regarding the players' motivation, potential trade scenarios, and how this sentiment may affect team cohesion during critical games. Analysts are already drawing comparisons to similar situations in other franchises where players' reluctance to remain with a team led to substantial mid-season changes. The very notion that a key player could be expressing discontent publicly or indirectly through their coach has stirred conversations about leadership, team culture, and the ability of Steve Kerr to manage a roster under pressure. The rumor mill is running at full speed, fueled by every cryptic interview, social media hint, and insider report that might point to the identity of the disgruntled player. Industry experts and former players have weighed in on the potential consequences of a situation like this, emphasizing that when a player signals unwillingness to remain with the team, it can set off a chain reaction affecting morale, performance, and future acquisitions. For the Warriors, a team known for its championship pedigree, the stakes are particularly high. The current roster features a mix of established superstars, developing talents, and role players whose synergy has been finely tuned over recent seasons, making the idea of internal discord especially concerning. Reports suggest that even minor disagreements between players and management can escalate rapidly, creating an atmosphere of uncertainty both on and off the court. Steve Kerr, renowned for his calm demeanor and tactical intelligence, faces the challenge of managing not only the XS and OS, but also the psychological well-being of the team. Should the unnamed player remain unhappy, it may necessitate a trade, restructuring, or even more drastic measures that could alter the Warriors' long-term trajectory. Speculation regarding potential destinations, trade partners, and the financial implications of moving a high-profile player has already begun, further amplifying the buzz surrounding the team. The basketball community is eagerly observing every practice session, press conference, and informal remark for clues, creating a media frenzy that only intensifies the pressure on both the coaching staff and the player. Fans, analysts, and rivals alike are now engaged in a guessing game that has become a captivating subplot in the ongoing narrative of the Warriors season. The psychological dimension of this situation cannot be overstated, as player dissatisfaction often manifests in ways that ripple across the team. When one member signals they no longer wish to participate fully, teammates may feel a sense of instability or distraction, which can affect performance during crucial moments in high-stakes games. Reports from sources close to the team suggest that locker room chemistry could be subtly shifting as players adjust their behavior in response to the rumored tension. Coaches are reportedly engaging in private conversations with individual players to gauge sentiment, reaffirm commitment, and mitigate the impact of any negativity. The media has latched onto every small gesture, facial expression, and offhand remark, further intensifying speculation about how serious the situation is. For the Warriors, whose identity has been shaped by resilience, teamwork, and a culture of mutual accountability, even a single player's discontent can challenge the very foundations upon which their recent successes were built. The sports world thrives on such narratives, and the timing of Kerr's revelation could influence trade discussions, contract negotiations, and even ticket sales as fans react to the possibility of roster instability. Rumors about potential moves, interest from other teams, and the players' motivations are fueling a non-stop discussion that spans podcasts, social media, and sports columns. The intrigue surrounding the Warriors is now as much about off-court dynamics as on-court achievements, capturing the attention of those who follow basketball closely and those drawn to the drama that often surrounds elite sports franchises. Financial implications also enter the conversation, as speculation about a player's departure can significantly impact contract negotiations, salary cap considerations, and evaluation of both the current roster and prospective acquisitions. The Warriors' front office must weigh the options carefully, considering not only the potential talent they could receive in return, but also the intangible cost of losing a player who may have contributed to team morale, marketability, and fan engagement. Discussions around buyouts, trade packages, and salary adjustments are already rumored to be taking place behind closed doors, with agents, executives, and league insiders closely monitoring every development. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.